please let me know. And I'm going to turn it over to our curator, Adrienne Moumin.
Okay. So do we need this light on? This little light here?
No, not yet.
Okay.
No good.
All right. We've got our one-man AV squad. Oh, wow. Okay. So hi, thank you all so much for coming. My name is Adrienne Moumin, and I'm an artist, and this is my first time curation. I'm a member of the Solas Collective, and I love it here. It's a wonderful place to be with wonderful people, wonderful programming, and lots of opportunities, and this is one of them. So Viktoriya Basina submitted to the open call. We didn't know each other before. How did you find it? Do you remember?
I came across it. I don't remember on which platform, and I really liked the title, so I started reading. And then when I read your description, it really resonated with me. And then I knew I had to work just to fit this. So I thought that it's a curatorial statement, beautifully written, and I thought that this is something I would like to participate in.
Great. Well, I'm thrilled that you did, and I'm so happy to have this beautiful work here. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to give a little introduction, and this is based on research that I have done that I found about you online, and you please let me know if I've left anything out. Please feel free to add or amend. So Viktoriya Basina is an accomplished painter, mosaic artist, who also uses fused glass, vitreous enamel, seashells, and gold leaf, and is also a public artist with numerous murals throughout the 5 boroughs and worldwide. Is that accurate? Did I leave anything out?
I think, yeah.
You think I got it? Okay, great. So this is Viktoriya with 2 of her works. I went ahead and pulled that off of her website this morning. No, actually, I got that off Canvas Rebel. I've been in Canvas Rebel as well.
Right.
Had some beautiful reproductions there that I couldn't find on your website. So I thought this was perfect. And there you are with 2 works that seem as though they are in a similar vein as Reminiscence, the work that we have here on display. So it seems to me that when I've looked at the group of works that we're going to go through, there were certain threads, certain themes, and certain qualities that I saw many times. Faces, places, and layers, physical layers and layers of meaning, and an astounding melange of different materials in a single piece. So would you like to address any of that? I know that's kind of a lot, if you want to pick something out.
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, I just wanted to say that thank you for including me in the show and for this interview. And I just like the curatorial statement was beautifully written. Then the show is also very, very nice, like very nice pieces, artists. And I think it explores the theme from different angles, which I'm really happy to be part of. Yeah, actually, I do have many different threads in my artwork, and layered meaning is very important to me just because there are so many in regular life. When we go out about our, doing our things, we get many different thoughts, many different stimuli, and it all kind of plays around in our brain together. So I kind of want to include everything in one piece, and just different thoughts, maybe some that go along with each other, some contradictory, and also I like for the viewer to get their own opinion or get their own perception of what I want to say. And sometimes people open up new meanings for me, which I maybe subconsciously thought of, but I haven't so yeah, I explore the conscious world and the subconscious world together, and the individualism and the collective, how this plays along in society. So I think this is also, I've been trained as a painter and as a monumental artist, which is painting and architecture like murals, mosaics, frescoes, things like that. And I do a lot of public art, which is kind of different from my personal art, just because of the nature of it. But I kind of feel that I cannot express everything with painting. So this is why I use different mediums. I think they give more tangibility to the work and different emotional reaction. So this is why I do this.
Great. Next slide, please. So, thank you. So we're coming to the piece Reminiscence that we have hanging here. And it was very obvious to me when I saw your submission on my screen that this work had to be in this show. The cityscape behind it on the sort of, I guess, top level, if you will, but that's behind the figure. I said, oh my goodness. And I think for me, what you just mentioned about the personal versus and the collective was so apparent to me when I saw this work, Geography as Destiny. So I would love it if you would be able to say more about exactly the layers of meaning in this work, because there are many other things going on here in addition to the city and the person.
Yeah, so this is a lot of my work has to do with just society as a whole, but this is very autobiographical. So I'm from Russia, and I've been here for 8 years now. So the blue and white buildings which you see are the apartment buildings which I grew up in Russia. And then up that city, I guess it is New York City. You can see some of the buildings, but I use a lot of archetypical cities in my work, just an archetype of a city with, many different people, many different stories and destinies. And then this is my self-portrait. Maybe I was just a little younger, but and it's holding a baby me. So this is me in my me in my school uniform. This is the uniforms we had in the Soviet Union. We had like a little star with the face of baby Lenin inside. So, that was my childhood. So it's a black and white photo because back then, I don't think there were any colored photos. So it just, and then the patterns that you see, there's a pattern in the silver, there's a pattern of lace. And then there's a pattern, another pattern, which is also part of a lot of my work and my public artwork. I work with folk arts of different cultures and patterns. So this is a pattern which, it's also stylized. It's not like one for one, but my interpretation of like a Russian folk art pattern, which can be found in some embroidery or some, maybe there's like these wooden dishes, which are painted with pattern like this, or maybe on some pattern which can be found in the scarves. And then the mosaics, I kind of started doing it unconsciously. And then I started thinking that they were like tombs, like the ancient, when you see like ancient burials in mountains, not like tombs in our classic cemeteries, but like something ancient which is buried. So it was about basically, I don't know, I'm not very good at explaining with words. I'm trying, but this is why I do visual art, because I feel like I can convey meanings, via imagery. So it's like a reminiscence. It's thinking about the childhood, the place which was tied with the childhood, and the place that I'm in now, and how, like geography is destiny, right? That if this was a destiny, and like how the destiny affects the self. So I don't know if this makes sense.
It makes perfect sense to me. I think it's very, very understandable, very, yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, so thank you for explaining that. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so now we've got what you had online as doll 2. And we have something that I've seen in a couple of your works. This.
Yes.
And I want to know, and I'm sure everybody who sees this work, that's their first question. Why? What are you doing?
So I'm definitely like not flicking off the viewer. That's not some people, some I at a lot of my shows I sell prints of the work, like these works. That's not the only work that I have with middle finger, and then people just buy it to put it in the office, like for their boss. I've heard that like before a lot, but basically this is a piece in the series which has been actually started in 2015 when I was still in Russia, and it's called Folk Toys series. So it's a series of female figures and doll figures alluding to iconography, like religious iconography. And so the doll figures are kind of female figures, and then the animal figures, they're also female figures, and they represent the animals which sometimes women are called, like, you're fat as a pig, I have a pig, and she works like a horse, I have a horse, like a chick, I have a chick, I have a mule, I have a cow, a fat cow. I have a bunch of them, a sheep, like a dumb sheep. Oh, you have the sheep, or the follower sheep. So in Russian language, there's more, like the animals which women are called is like more expanded. So there's like more animals, which maybe in English wouldn't make sense, like a goat, So I have a goat too. But this is only a small part of the meaning, which is not, so basically, I started this series as my reaction to like the social, the political, the societal things which really made me uncomfortable, and I wanted to explore them through humor. And I think that humor is if you want to talk about serious things and like not kill each other, I think it's best to use humor, and through humor you can be more empathetic, or have difficult conversations. It's not as edgy.
Yes.
And I really believe in humor as like a philosophy. So, and the middle finger, basically. So these, so the doll figures, they're more like religious iconography, like, and I know in like Byzantine culture, but also in other cultures in Catholic or other religions like Hinduism, there's kind of saints or deity figures, which people pray to, or they send their emotions to, with like asking for something, they send energy to, and then they expect these figures to like teach them something, or to give them comfort, or to bless. So like in Buddhism, if you know these mudras, where different hand gestures, right? So in Byzantine iconography, there's also hand gestures, because Jesus will have different hand gestures for teaching, for blessing, not only in Buddhism and in Hinduism and many cultures where there's visual representation of actual deities, this happens. So I kind of felt like it was another gesture which they just never show you in these like prayer temples, because it should be just all positive. But this is kind of it is also humorous, like this is how the gods really feel about you. Maybe.
Yeah.
But this is not the only, so basically the viewer can see it and see their own meaning. And my work really, like the underlying theme is the theme of empathy. So I guess the gods, they're not super maybe empathetic, and that's also, I think, a lesson to be learned, that that sometimes our hopes and aspirations and something that we put a lot of faith in is just not the thing that is going to help you.
Yes, yes, yes.
And this piece, it has fused glass, so in the headdress and then in the dress, these pieces that you see, this is kiln fired fused glass, and then there's some mosaic, stone mosaic. So this is actually like found stones. I haven't done anything to them.
Oh my! Wow.
And the people. So I started making this one. I have a bunch of them, all doing different things, and not all are like flicking people off. So this one, I don't know if you remember. I think maybe it was like 2016. There was this Syrian refugee crisis where all was like orange vests, and it just like made me horrified. And it's not about them, but I think the orange, the vests, is kind of like people. I guess like orange vest could be, anything, not just for like this specific cause, but it could be, people like struggling, migrating,
Yeah. Orange is the new black, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't resist.
I don't think I knew about it. Was that show around even? I don't think I knew. I don't
Probably not at that time. Yeah.
I don't watch TV shows, so I have no idea.
I don't either. I don't either, but it's just kind of percolated throughout the culture, and I know that phrase, so I just had to throw that in there.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Because it kind of does fit, I mean, I'm guessing that in some prisons, prisoners do wear orange, and certainly refugees, that's a color. Buddhist monks have orange robes, saffron robes. So it's interesting, the significance of that, I think, throughout different parts of the culture, sort of signifying people that maybe are not the most powerful at the top of the heap societally.
Yeah.
Next slide, please. So this is another doll with the middle finger, and I'm so intrigued with the skeletons at the bottom and the or rather the skulls at the bottom and the architecture right above them. Particularly, that's what stands out to me about this piece.
Yeah, so this piece I made here, I think it was 2022. Yeah, it was 2022. So this is when the war with Ukraine and Russia started. And I actually, way before that, I've been making all these pieces with missiles. Yes. Missiles and explosions. And I don't know, I just had this I guess this unconscious anxiety about it, so I would just do it and make me feel better. Or I don't know, like why artists do things. Just I guess it's to like this kind of psychotherapy for yourself. So I've been doing this actually for years. And then when when I was leaving Russia, I actually left because I just stopped liking it. The whole thing, it was scaring me. Even though I left 2017, it was just like I just didn't like the vector. And then, like that part, the way it became now, it was becoming like this for a while. So when this happened, that's really, I think all of the community of people from like Russia, Ukraine, or maybe all of the former Soviet Union, it's very hard, this whole situation, because there's many people that are it's just horrible. So this was my reaction to this. I think this is actually a real fuck you. And I think the skeletons and the buildings which are demolished, I think this was my my reaction. I was really upset, and then I want to make like this kind of Madonna, which is like a very, I mean, I'm not saying it's a Madonna, it's not a Madonna, but like this deity, which is looks like that.
Yeah, and it's interesting that the face to me, looks very young, very innocent, very introspective, but yet is sort of, you know, giving the finger to the outside world.
Yeah, I think that faces in iconography, they're always like very sweet and beautiful. All the artists which painted, you know, saints, and they're all like these angelic, youthful. Yeah, and I guess the black, you know, the colors like the black and the red, and her skirt is kind of like a stage, you know,
Yes,
a theater
yes,
stage.
yes, it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And this one, it's also the cuffs and the headpiece. It's vitreous enamel, and the neck piece, and then around it, it's black glass, so black glass mosaic.
Oh my!
So it's,
wow. Really
yeah, this was
beautiful.
just an emotional piece, just a continuation of the series, but just in response to what happened. It's like, it really was a devastating. I mean, it still is, but at first it was a complete shock.
Yes, yes, yes. And then we become accustomed to what suddenly is the new normal.
Yeah, it's very
Unfortunately.
sad. I don't think it's accustomed, but just to keep your sanity, you don't let, because if you let all this pain and grief through you, then you can't, you know, you'll just go crazy and you can't live. So it's maybe these defense mechanisms.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So one thing intrigues me. I don't know about anyone else here, but I don't know what vitreous enamel means. I was hoping you could explain something about that.
Yeah, vitreous enamel is basically, if you go to the Met and you go to the medieval section, and you'll see Limoges enamels. So this is glass fused to metal. That's the easiest explanation for that. And it's been done like from like Roman times, actually, I think. But in the Middle Ages, Limoges was very big in you know, in doing this. The Chinese did it like in a different way. It's called champlevé. And then after in Russia, there was also this decorative enamel tradition, and in Georgia, the country, which was actually brought from Limoges, from France there, but then they developed their own different schools of it.
Okay.
So it's this glass which is made into fine powder, which is put, you can mix it with oil, or you can mix it with water, and then you can kind of paint with it. It's not like really, and then you can fire it in the kiln at, I think, 1500 degrees Fahrenheit. It's about 850 Celsius. And then you fire it for a few minutes, and you take it out, and you put more stuff on it. And then what I like about it, that it's a very crafty technique used, you know, before, but now there's all these different things you can do with it, because there's decals, which, you know, you can print images on special film which will melt into the glass. Then there's dichroic glass with metal alloys, which NASA created, and artists started using it, and it gives like this iridescence. So you can, I just experiment with it. I do things completely non-traditionally. I just experiment and go crazy, and but I really like the technique because it gives you kind of artistic freedom, and I can't really paint abstractly, but you know, this is like where I can explore abstraction in glass and enamel.
Yeah, yeah. It makes sense. You have this very small canvas.
Yeah, like my earrings. So these earrings here, this is enamel, and actually I prepared, and this image is like the basis of these earrings. So.
I know, they're amazing. I saw them as soon as you walked in.
Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Just beautiful. Thank you for explaining it. All right, so next slide, please. All right, so again, here she is, and I can't help but see there's at least a slight resemblance between her face and yours. Very slight.
I didn't really mean it. It's not a self-portrait. Like this is, but this is not. You know, sometimes artists, if you don't have a model, maybe like it ends up looking like you somehow. But this is actually the very, very first work that I've made in the series. This is how it all started.
Oh.
And yeah, I think I don't remember what I had in mind, but maybe a religious figure, like I said, what I explained about, you know, the hopes, the aspirations, the mudras, the hand gestures. And I had this archetypical town, just like a small town and like industrial setting. So I have these archetypical cities or towns in my, which is not a city or a place that exists.
And the headdress looks vaguely Egyptian to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but to me, that's what it makes me think of.
Yeah, there's an element. I think when you think about Egyptian sculpture, Egyptian painting, sculpture, right? The deities. It's very like authority, power. So I think the headdress just represents power. And to me, you know, when I see this kind of Egyptian style, you know, with these lines, it just represents the ultimate, like the pharaoh, you know, like the ultimate power. So I think it's just a figure of power, basically.
Yeah. And the bottom seems to have construction cranes.
Yeah, so it's like an industrial. I want to give it industrial vibe.
Yeah, so it's got everything. And I see some stones in the bottom.
Yes, same stones.
Yeah.
I was on a beach in Montenegro and then I saw that they had really nice stones. So then I just collected all the perfect ones because not all of them look like that. So I just collected the best ones I could find, and I had like a suitcase of stones that I brought to Russia. I brought them here but now they're all gone. I don't have them.
You've used them all up?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like a huge suitcase, it was like a small suitcase.
Well, I'm sure they're quite heavy.
Well, yeah, altogether, then it ended up.
Yeah. You were over the weight limit for that flight, right?
I think I didn't have much luggage, just like, yeah.
Okay, because you wanted to save it for the important stuff.
Yeah.
So you came with empty bags.
Like a junk phone.
Great. Okay, next slide, please. Thanks. All right, so here's what you mentioned earlier, the sheep.
Yeah, those are my sheep. And I have a bunch of animals. And actually, I've just made a dissected frog. It's almost finished. I'm not done yet. But I just keep continue. Like, I think, okay, this is it. I'm done with this. I'm going to do something else. And then like, a year later, I'll come back and then do another one. So the sheep, I don't know, in English, do you can like you call a woman derogatory as a sheep, like, oh, you're a dumb sheep, or in Russian it's a thing. But also I think in any language, sheep represents followers, right? Like, and yeah, there's a herd of sheep, and sheep is also a sacrificial animal. So you know, her little hoofs are tied, you know, she's like a sacrificial animal basically, but she thinks she's sexy and like cute at the same time, and you know, trying to conform to like the canons of beauty. And then she has a meat bodysuit and a meat shorts. I guess they're shorts, but then they also have maybe it's AK-47. I'm not like versed in guns.
I think
what is it?
machine guns of some
machine guns.
type,
Okay, whatever. It's a machine gun or plastic. I don't know what they are. So it's about. I mean, it also has a, I think, allusion to religion, and also to just about like having your own, making up your own mind, and freedom, and freedom from the crowd, and maybe questioning of some social norms, like what's sexy, what's like glamorous, because I think guns, they're also very glamorous in some circles of people, you know, all over the world, not just
Yes.
here, but everywhere. And there's like a certain glamour which goes with it. And so I guess, so, and it's humorous too, right? Because it's funny. She's like this half sheep, half person. And it's funny, right? Everyone just laughs, but then they um, start to look at it and then find different meanings.
Yes, yeah. You can look at this for a long time and see something new every single time.
And then she's pointing out like this. I think this, when was this, 2019? Maybe was that no, it was 2019. I forgot when I made her. Maybe 2019. There was this war with Islamic State then, and then all of these mujahids, they released videos where they would, you know, say like, we're gonna, and they always did this. I think I got this gesture, like watch the video and was like, oh, okay, so my sheep is gonna do that.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, but it's not completely related. It's not about them. It's just, I'm just telling you just how I get certain ideas. Like I watch something and then like, okay, but it's not about, you know, these people or these events.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
But
just
yet
something
sends
which
a
like
very strong
influences you.
message.
Yeah.
It sends a very strong message. And what's the size? How large is this?
It's like this. It's not.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's larger than I thought.
Oh, you thought they're small?
I did.
Like miniatures? Oh,
Yes.
hard.
Well, when I looked at it on the screen, I don't think I saw a size there. So in my mind, I thought it was sort of like this, but you're saying it's
like this. Yeah.
wow. So you couldn't
Yeah.
really go up to it and sort of get lost in it because of that size. I would think.
I can't do, like, I don't have good vision to do miniatures.
Wow. Really, really magnificent and so just so important. I mean, it's a lot of messages in there, a lot of messages, and yet you say it's humorous.
It is.
That's
It's just
amazing
like
to
a
me.
funny image, right? I mean, it's not funny. Like it's a sheep and like sexy. It's like fishnet stockings.
Yes, yes, yeah, farcical.
I don't want to be like this epic trip. You know, it's just. I can't make anything like this. Just too much. You know.
Yeah, yeah. You
So.
always kind of have that little undertone of humor. I saw a discussion that you had with someone about one of your more recent paintings that you posted, and they said it's kind of like the people in government now, and you were very tongue-in-cheek. You were very politic about the way you said it, very sort of delicate, saying, "Oh yes, well, I could see how you say that," or something very just like, "Yeah, that's true," but.
I just, you know, I don't, and this is great, you know, many people do that, and that's a different genre, but I don't like to make posters or like poster art or like, you know, or I want it to be subtle, I want it to be fun, I want it to be serious at the same time, or tragic, or, you know, but it's not going to be like a message in your face, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the most effective art.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really do believe that, because when I look at something and it takes me a while to see the meanings and the significance, and it's not all one thing, as you said, it doesn't just yell at you, okay, this is what I'm doing here, but you really need to sort of dive into it, and you see different meanings there, and you see the humor, and you see the pathos, and you see the drama, and you see all of the different messages. There's so much there, and that's the best art to me.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. All right, next slide, please. Okay. So this is called Vices.
I think it's called,
No.
maybe it's called greed, jealousy, indifference.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And this is actually a big one. It's from the floor like this.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And it also has a vitreous enamel. So if you see, like in the masks, the eyes, the mouth, there's some vitreous enamel pieces in the mosaic. So it's mosaics, vitreous enamel, and then painting. combined together. And yeah, that's technically, it's a pretty cool just thing that I explored. And then after I made a bunch of similar, but it's a very difficult, it's like 3 layers of different things put together. So then the mosaics is not raised above the painting, so it's all kind of on one level. So I played with different materials. And this is, I think this is also maybe 2019, or maybe no. I'm confused with the years, but it was a while ago. But I thought, yeah, this is kind of more in your face just because of the name. But I thought about it, and I thought, like, what's wrong with our world? Like, why things are so wrong? And I thought that greed, jealousy, and indifference is like the vices, right? Which are like the worst, and all like the horrible things happen because of these 3. And so this is a start of my other series, which is called Heavenly Creatures. So I have this series where these basically, again, deities or these godlike creatures. They're not deities from any specific religion, but like these figures of like otherworldly power and beauty and grace, that looking down at our world and seeing what what's going on, whether they've caused it themselves, or they enjoy it, or they don't like it, or they are disgusted by us. It could be all of these things, right? So they're kind of like someone watching everything. So I made these figures, these vices, and the masks. I guess these masks is what, you would think like a very caricature version of what like greed looks like, what jealousy looks like, and so they're having these masks. And whether like, what are they themselves? I don't know, but, and then they're looking at the world. And yeah, this is 2019. There's already destruction going on. And
Yeah, that's just before the pandemic.
it was before the pandemic.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my God, I made a work in 2011 with people in masks.
Oh, like gas masks
No,
or face masks?
like face masks with
Okay.
people working in a store with face masks. And then during the pandemic, I remembered it. I was like, what? But
You saw something, you felt something, you intuited something, maybe.
I don't know. Of course, I would never think about the pandemic. But
Yeah, but then it came to pass. Artists are very prescient, oftentimes. Yeah.
Can you just share which figure is which face?
oh,
Good
so
question.
the one that has a dollar sign and the enamel eyes is the greed, and then this other one is jealousy, and then indifference is this kind of wizard, the wizard. And they have meat. If you can't see it, they have meat clothes. They have fragments of their clothes. That's meat. You see,
Oh,
like
my.
different.
Yes.
And it's very, just if you see this image, you can't tell, but this work, the meat part, I did the meat on them, then I epoxied them. Then I made like kind of like a puzzle, and then I would fit the mosaics, this epoxy
Oh my goodness.
image, and then the painting together. So you couldn't, but it's all on one surface.
My goodness. So you said all one level, right?
Yeah.
So that is
Not like this.
Right.
Well,
so,
this is inlaid, right? So it's kind of on the same level, but a lot of the shells are protruding. No, this one is all on one level.
So that was intentional, I imagine, when you were assembling it.
Yeah, I wanted to do, because if you put, on one wood panel mosaics and then painting, the painting will be, it's not going to look good. I want it to be all one level.
Right. Okay. I see.
was kind of technological challenge, but I liked it.
I imagine so. Yeah. So you painted on top of the mosaic?
No, I
Oh,
had 3 layers. I had basically very board, which is this kind of thing that you put mosaics on. It's a foam board with fiberglass mesh and then cement. And then on it, then I cut out with masonite different layers, and then I had another foam layer on the back just to give it thickness.
Wow, more amazing melange of media underlying that you don't even know, you can't even see. So thank you so much for that explanation. Wow. So I want to pause here for a minute. And if it's okay, I'm going to read something that I found that you wrote on Canvas Rebel last winter.
Oh, okay.
Canvas Rebel, Brandon and I were talking about that. This is a website that basically invites artists to do interviews, but there's no interview. They ask you questions and you pick the questions that you want to answer, and then they publish it along with whichever images you want to supply them. So I don't know about you, but I found it a really good exercise in thinking about why I make my art, what it means to me, what messages I hope it sends. And it just really helped me learn a lot about how to express that. Did you find that when you?
Yeah, I think every time you write something about your art or you say something about your art, it actually gives you more depth and more understanding. So I think, it's always very, very, very useful and helpful.
Yeah, because this I thought was particularly eloquent, and I feel like it pulls together a lot of what you've been saying about the individual works and what drives your themes. So you said the influences in my work are very eclectic, ranging from ancient and Byzantine art to symbolism to modern aspects of our society. While at first seeming whimsical and attractive, a lot of my work alludes to warfare, militarism, consumption, and misogyny, which we've talked about. What is currently idolized and glorified actually leads to incessant violence and intolerance. A people and culture obsessed with symbols of wealth, weapons, and entrenched gender roles. So I thought that was so eloquent, and really pulls it together, at least what we've seen in these works that we're looking at tonight.
Yeah, I guess it's easier to write it, than to say.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I find that as well. Yeah, very much so. Very much so. So we have one more to look at. Next slide, please. I thought this would be a really perfect one. This is, I believe, a straight self-portrait, right?
Yeah,
Very
this is just a
transparently
self-portrait.
so.
Yeah.
Oh, it's never just a self-portrait.
I think that's called forward, and it's also mosaics. It's the same technique as the previous one. Different layers, mosaics, masonite that I paint in. I think that maybe it's also canvas. I glued canvas on this masonite, so it's basically like canvas and masonite, and then mosaics all on the same level of like 3 different. And this is my archetypical city again. And it is a self-portrait of me. I think it's kind of like, maybe I painted it as a self-help image, just the aspirations. And I think the theme would be short, to make it short, moving forward, hopefulness, kind of positive attitude in difficult times.
Like life, always, yes. There's, again, just like all of them, there's so much to see, so many layers of imagery. You sort of have this headdress, which looks perhaps quasi-Russian, but I don't know enough about.
Yeah, this is the same. So in the headdress and then the blue flowers, this is Russian folk art, which one is China painting, and the other one the wooden dishes. And then there's different like folk arts of different cultures, but I think most of it is like different Russian folk art.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And here you have what looks to be New York right behind you, and some other city a little more murky.
It could be, I guess it could be like Brooklyn, but then it has these oil pumping.
Yes, that's right. There
But
is
just
an
an
oil rig.
archetypical city, like industrial, how I
Yes.
would imagine something
Yeah.
industrial.
Yeah,
Maybe gritty, and maybe that's why it looks like New York.
yeah, yeah. Again, so much to see and so much to just take in, and layers of meaning, layers of imagery, layers of different types of materials. Really beautifully done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I ask how big is this last one?
This is, it's like this. It's not big. It's
about 24 by 24, something like that, 20 by 20.
It's more than 24. Maybe it's like, I don't know. Maybe like 24 by maybe 24 by 20.
Yeah. About 2 feet by 2 feet. Wow. So does anyone have any questions, comments, anything you want to?
So it was pointed out that in a lot of the pieces that I'm up there, you always have these kind of like sort of generic socialist landscapes, and they're always like at the bottom of the piece, and then they kind of like progress, and at the top of the piece, like that one's sort of typical. You have, it's almost like literally the shining sitting on the hill. It's like this progression of the life story. You left kind of like Russia behind, and also Russia left this sort of like socialism, development, like living behind, and kind of like move forward. But you also use this humor as like this ironic statement about like moving forward towards capitalism, and what it meant. Like you finally get there, and you're like, how the fuck is this?
Well, I mean,
And then up top, you're like, oh, it's
just to let you know, like during whatever was called socialism, I lived when I was very young, so I've basically lived my whole life through capitalism. So I don't think that, right now, like Russian society is just as capitalist as anywhere, but I don't think it's about like capitalism and socialism. I think it's more about like the city is something with lots of people, right? It's where all of this people activity happens, and then like up above there's like the heavens or whatever. I think it's more just like our world, and then like the bigger world, and then the imaginary realm outside of it. Maybe that's like the division.
Yeah, great.
I want to say that that's an interesting observation before you're getting to hear your work. And I was intrigued to see the work and how you kind of, in many ways, you've taken me to Russia, to your place, to your birth, to where you've been, right? Through your symbolism, through your use of artifacts, through your use of art history, which is clear, right? It's no surprise that you diptychs or your triptychs look the way they do. That's how they present themselves in churches and places. There's a kind of a formal thing going on. So thank you for an incredible journey, because I really feel like I'm just a little piece of you through that work. It really does transmit very nicely. And so I sense it, I feel it. This does not feel New York at all, or this place, right? Anywhere around here, right? So that's kind of really delightful to experience when you captured something that, yeah, I see where you're going.
Thank you.
Really fun experience.
Anyone else? All right. Well, thank you so much for the people that came and the people that are watching online. Hi, we're really glad that you tuned in. So this is, again, Geography as Destiny, and we are here. The show is up until this coming Tuesday, the 24th. We have an opening reception. If anybody is interested in coming, you're more than welcome to join us. And Viktoriya Basina, our wonderful participating artist in the show, we thank you so much for lending us your amazing work and for this outstanding interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you all for coming out on this rainy, almost thunderstorm day um, to hear the artist talk, and thank you so much for having me, and I really appreciate all of you and this opportunity.
Great pleasure. Thanks, Victoria.